there are few elements in your horoscope, and if you can see these 3 or 4 placements in the horoscope of the probable partner also, then I would advise you to put on your jogging shoes and run. Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. Because of the sustained interest in people wanting to know more details about their partner, their relationship, and different aspects about how their relationship would go, and qualities of the partner, qualities of the probable partner who probably they may get in a relationship with or are in a relationship with. And if they want to know more details, either to identify the partner or want to know the person whether they are with is the right person or for them or not. So I've done these 3 or 4 videos. I've done many earlier on also, but I've done 2 detailed videos on how to identify the probable partner, and I've done video yesterday about how to identify or know about the probable age about the spouse or the partner, whether the person would be much older than you or much younger than you. And there is also a lot of sustained interest in the financial aspects, because of which it is very difficult in today's time for 2 people to have a quality of life if financial situation is not so very rosy for them. And so I'm doing this video. More videos of this series will follow about identifying different aspects about the spouse, but I will be doing that later in the future. So today I'll be doing the video about the financial aspects of you and your partner, and how that may come about giving either more sustenance to your union, to your relationship, or may also put you in a pot of losses because of the partner, because of the relationship. So if there are few elements in your horoscope, and if you can see these 3 or 4 placements in the horoscope of the probable partner also, then I would advise you to put on your jogging shoes and run. The reason I will say advise you to run is because in today's time, quality of life, financial situations of the 2 partners is very, very important. And if you are in a pot of bother or spot of bother because of the partner, because of the spending habits of the partner, because of the financial mismanagement of the partner, or the partner ending or tending to be too expensive for you, then it can become a big problem for you in the long run. Especially if you are trying to have more financial security, save up, build some assets, but because of the financial mismanagement or financial pressures or financial problems brought about by the partner, or being influenced by the partner to go in a certain direction, it could be a challenge. So how do you see from your horoscope first if you have a probability that you may end up with such a partner, and then to validate that from the partner's placements also, whether it's more of a higher probability, more of a stronger probability that you may end up with such a person. Now from your horoscope, these 3 or 4 placements become very important. Firstly, the involvement of the houses of money and assets. The second house of income, money in the bank, livelihood, your remuneration, that becomes important. And the 4th house of assets, which are all those things that you bought with the money in the bank or through your livelihood or the earning and made assets, houses, cars, vehicles, jewelry, or any asset that you made in terms of property or land and so on. These 2 houses are the ones where you accumulate your money in either liquid form or assets form. Then the houses of gains, the 5th house of gains, the 9th house of gains, and the 11th house of gains become very, very important. Now in any of these, if the 7th house lord gets placed in a malefic placement, in an inimical sign, and then that lord goes into any of the dusthanas, then from that area of life you may get challenges. For example, if your 7th lord is placed in the 2nd house but in an inimical sign, and the 2nd lord then has gone into the 8th house, which means that your spouse's involvement in your livelihood, in your earning, in your remuneration, in the money in the bank is there, So the spouse is involved in it either through earning herself or himself maybe, or by involvement in how you end up spending the money. And if you give more control to the spouse to be able to use that finances because you feel nothing is close between you and your spouse, your partner, then the spouse may end up not being able to manage those finances well, or maybe overspending, because of which it gets into obstacle challenges to increase your saving. It becomes a problem. There is an obstacle to you saving money, and that is your spouse, because of either mismanagement or spouse not involving or taking a part of the accumulation of money, but she or he is involved in the spending of the money. Second, if 7th Lord is in the 4th house, either in an inimical sign or in an inimical conjunction, and then the 4th Lord has, for example, gone into the 12th house, which means you are trying to build assets, you are trying to save money for the assets. Maybe you have even built some assets, you have bought some jewelry, you have bought some vehicles, you have bought a property, but because of this overspending, what is the 12th house? Waste and excess. Because of waste and excess, which could be brought about by the decisions taken by your spouse or your partner, where to put your money in, which car to buy, which asset to buy, which kind of jewelry to be bought, so that you are able to build those assets. That decision may be coming from the spouse, and that may end up giving you losses because of either excessive spending. 12th house is excessive spending and getting into losses. I've done a separate video also on if the spouse will be overspending, but I'm giving you more details, specific areas, and to see how that overspending may be coming about. So if the 4th Lord, when the 7th Lord is in an inimical conjunction, dosha, or in an inimical sign, and the 4th Lord gets into the 12th house, then high expense is brought about. If your 7th Lord is in the 12th house, directly gone into the Dusthana in the 12th house with a malefic, and if your Venus is also placed there, the money may be coming in, but because of your requirement for high quality of life, richness of life brought about by a spouse, because the spouse Lord, 7th Lord has gone into the 12th house, maybe in an inimical sign, maybe even in a friendly sign, but because of that, the quality of life that you enjoy will be high, because of which money will not be saved. Now if the 12th Lord then goes into the 6th house, that means for a quality of life you may end up even taking loans, getting into debts. If the 12th Lord goes into the 8th house, then sudden losses, sudden challenges, sudden problems may also come about. So you need to get into the details and see where the challenge may be coming from. If the 7th Lord is getting into the 5th house of gains, 5th house is also speculative investments. So because of your prodding of your spouse, or spouse telling you please invest in such a area, you may be allowing that, or you may be doing, or spouse may be using your money and making some speculative investments, stocks, shares, maybe crypto, whatever. And if it goes in an inimical sign, or if it goes in a friendly sign but in a bad dosha with a bad conjunction, and if the 5th Lord goes into any of the dusthanas, especially if it goes into the 6th house or the 8th house, then there could be a challenge where the money could be lost in debts. You take debts and you invest and the money goes, or suddenly the money goes. You invest in some stocks in the morning, in a day or two you'll suddenly get to know stock market has fallen, that particular price has also crashed. That may also come about. Sometimes it may happen the 7th Lord goes into the 11th house, but in a inimical sign or in an inimical conjunction, or gets combusted there or gets debilitated there, and the 11th Lord is also in either the 12th house, in an inimical sign, or in the 6th house or in the 8th house, then the challenge could be that your spouse ends up spending too much money for social causes, social parties rather than causes. Person likes to spend time with friends, goes out pubbing, goes out to enjoy, and maybe forces you to travel. Let's go to that trip, let's go on that trip. And then you end up going for those 2, 3, 4 trips. You also spend some money. Spouse or your partner may also be spending money, and both of you end up splurging on either your social life, parties, going out with friends, going on for vacations or not, or maybe in the 12th house where you're doing international trips also, and you lose money because of that. So you need to be careful. Is the money going out of the house because of being spent on friends, social life, pubs, or even giving to loans, or giving loans or debts to friends and the money not coming? Sometimes it could also mean that Seventh lord goes into the 8th house directly with inimical placement there, and the 8th lord also goes into the 7th house. So some chance, not a very strong chance, but some chance that the in-laws are also influencing the spouse, or in-laws are getting involved in the money spending, or in-laws are also taking help from you or your spouse. Those can also be there. Now what you need to do is, you also need to see the placement of the Darakaraka, the planet with the lowest degrees in the horoscope, and see if the Darakaraka also is an inimical sign, inimical dosha, is combusted, is debilitated, going into the Dusthanas, and to some extent replicating the similar placements. The Darakaraka also going into the Dusthanas, maybe for example with the malefic, while the 7th lord is also in a malefic sign, involved with the 2nd house, 4th lord, or any of the house of kings. Then there is a higher tendency that it will be coming about because of you seeing it from your horoscope. Now when you look at the horoscope of the partner or the probable partner, if their horoscope also shows similar problems, similar challenges, similar obstacles, then it could be a higher chance that spouse will bring about those challenges, because it is being confirmed, validated from the horoscope of the partner as well. For example, in your partner's horoscope, if the 7th lord is placed in a friendly sign in the 2nd house, but the 2nd lord has gone into the Dusthanas, which means the spouse is bringing in money. I'm talking about the horoscope of the partner, probable partner. So in their horoscope, if the 7th lord is placed well in the 2nd house, but the 2nd lord has gone into the 8th house, which means spouse is bringing in good money, but the person himself, because of his or her overspending, thrift, not being able to get in money, is getting their money into losses, sudden challenges. Or if the 7th lord goes into the 9th house in a friendly sign, in a good yoga, in the partner's horoscope, which means the spouse is bringing in good luck, is increasing of fate and luck. But if the 9th lord then goes into the 12th house, but that means the spouse could be spending up the more money, which means the other person could be spending the spouse's money in splurging the money for good life, or going for trips, or whatever. So you need to also see whether your probable spouse's horoscope is also showing that the 7th lord is placed well, but wherever it is placed, especially in the 2nd house, 4th house, or any of the houses of gains, 5th, 9th, or 11th, and that lord has gone into a challenge, then because of whichever Dusthanas or challenging areas it goes, that area is bringing in the losses. Either it is getting into losses because of poor investment, overspending, over socialization, trying to enjoy very good quality of life, going for trips, putting into some speculative areas where the money is falling flat. So when you're looking at both these, you're looking at your own horoscope, then you're also looking at the Darakaraka, and you're confirming it from the horoscope of the spouse also, or probable spouse also. And if you see those being replicated, then you need to think again whether you are getting into or planning to get into a life with somebody who could bring in those losses, not allow your money to accumulate, not allow the financial security you're looking for, maybe going overboard with the money, going overboard, putting extra financial pressures on you, and you not being able to look straight because of the high influence of your spouse on you. Or if you're already in a relationship and if you know that the spouse has these tendencies, don't put the blame on the poor spouse because of your failures. You also need to take responsibility, the financial responsibility, and you both together as a couple need to take financial decision, or you leave each other's money alone. So whatever financial situation or agreement you have between each of you, if both the horoscopes are showing these challenges, then you need to think again whether you are getting into the relationship with somebody with the right financial acumen also, even if you're leaving the other areas aside, or even if all the other areas are very good. Because if your horoscope is showing those tendencies, and if you're getting into a relationship with somebody whose their horoscope is also showing that tendency, then you are increasing the chances of getting into that pitfall of high expenses, higher wastages, no financial security, always being living hand to mouth, and in the long run maybe getting into debts and loans sometimes which you may not be able to pay. Then the relationship also being impacted, coming to such an extent where there may be a lot of animosity because of financial situation, there may be arguments, there may be fights, there may be separation, and God forbid, even it may get to divorce. So friends, look into your horoscope, understand your horoscope's placements well, understand the horoscope placements of the probable partner's horoscope also very well, and only when you look at overall how both the placements are coming together, complementing each other in many other areas as well as financial situation, only then take the relationship forward, only then also cement the relationship for long-term stable committed bond. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me. The link is given below. Till some other time, some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.